Hey, you guys. Good morning. Good morning. I'm a little late. No sound detected. Check your audio. Hmm. Hello? Hello? That's showing. Huh. And I won't know until one of y'all join me. Hey, Cog, can you hear me? Can you hear me, you guys? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Because for a minute it came up and said you couldn't hear me. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Hey. Oh. Shit. Okay. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? Um. Hmm. Hello? Can you hear? Is it loud enough? I don't know why. Okay, you can hear me now, but I don't know why. Hmm. There is an echo. Okay, can you hear me now without an echo? It was because I was testing my audio, so you were getting feedback, I think, from me. But can you still hear me? Am I loud enough? Okay, I don't know. That was weird. Okay, anyway, Bible study time, y'all. Where's my co-host? I need some of you to come up here and join me to hear deconstruct with me. Joyful, if you're homesick, you should come up and be a co-host with me. Good
Good morning,
morning.
Crystal.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. Enjoying a beautiful day before
Yeah,
it gets cold again.
it's a pretty day here too. It's always a pretty day in Southern California, though.
Always, like the song says, it never rains in Southern California, right?
Yeah, it's true. It did rain last week, though, which we needed, but it's never enough. Um, Hang on one second. I'm trying to help Doug with a problem right now, and he's irritating me. Okay.
Okay, you're fine.
I'm sorry. This is probably so boring. I'll explain in just a second. Okay. So have you guys ever used the mail order prescription services that are available? You know, like where they'll send you your prescription. Oh, did I? Yeah, I did the right Bible study thing. You know where they'll send you your prescription medication right to your house? Well, we were doing that, and they don't do it. Like the medicine doesn't come, and so it just became a pain in the butt of me always trying to get them to send my medicine or my husband's medicine. And I finally was like, this is stupid. I'm just going to switch to a local pharmacy again because this is not working. This is ridiculous. So I called the local pharmacy last week to switch his blood pressure medicine over, and they called me back a couple days later and they say the number that you gave us is not the correct number. So I call them and leave the correct number, and then I don't hear from them. So I call yesterday and I'm like, here is the number on the prescription bottle. I don't hear from them, so I called them this morning. He goes, that number still doesn't work. So I get another number. It's Express Scripts through Cigna. In case you ever want to know, don't use this service, okay? And meanwhile, I called his doctor and said, he's out of his blood pressure medicine. Can I get a couple of pills sent over to the pharmacy? Or, can you tell him to give us a couple of pills while they figure this stupid conundrum out? And they were like, yeah, sure, It could take 48 hours to 72 hours. Why? Why does it take you 2 to 3 days to call a pharmacy and say, put a couple of pills on hold for Doug Yeager while you guys figure out this mess? Like, I don't even understand all this, right? So I talked to the pharmacy today, and they're saying that phone number still doesn't work. And I find another number, and that doesn't work. And then he says, it would just be easier if you have your doctor write a whole new prescription. Why didn't you tell me that last week?
Oh my God. Welcome to American healthcare.
So I called the doctor and was like, just write him a new prescription. We cannot get it transferred. He is out. We just need some medicine for him. Can we get his blood pressure medicine? Can we get a few? Like, can somebody do something, And then, meanwhile, I'm texting him, telling him all this, and he doesn't, I think he only reads every 3 or 4 words I text because he just, doesn't get anything I'm saying. And then later when I'll talk to him about it, I'm like, but I said this or whatever. He'll be like, oh, I didn't read that part. What are you doing? Do you skim your text messages? What do you mean? I don't
Oh
understand.
my God. I mean, how much are you typing out?
I mean, literally, the part he didn't understand yesterday was I said, because you are out of your medicine, this is exactly the text message, okay? I said, okay, just talk to the doctor's office. The woman I spoke to said she sent it over to the medication refill team. It can take up to 72 hours, but because you are out of your medication, she did put a priority on it. I will call CVS in the morning if we haven't heard from them yet. He took that to mean that they might be out of his medication. What?
No comment.
I never said they're out of your medication. And then he goes, oh, you said because I'm out of my medication. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. What? I don't know. So between talking to the pharmacy and the doctor and my husband about this, I'm over it already. I'm just done. I'm ready to read some Bible stories that will make me angry instead. Listen to hear, Joyful, Seth, DC. Some of you need to get up here. And you guys
up here.
Has anybody heard from Low Steel? Because I haven't heard from him in a long time. And if you don't know who he is, you might, it's been a while since he's been around. But he is a really cool guy, and I just realized I haven't seen him around in a while. So if you've heard from Low Steel, let him know that he's missed in the community. All right, to hear how are you today? You guys, we're in Exodus. My daughter's
good. How are you? Well,
oh, sorry. My daughter's making coffee right now, so if it's loud for a minute, she's making an espresso or a latte or something.
sounds like Starbucks.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting outside, so if I have too much wind or background noise, just let me know.
Okay.
I'm going to try and go on mute when I'm not talking.
Crystal, do you want to try a restart, though? Because it seems really glitchy. And, I don't know if... It seems like it's at least me and Seth.
It's TikTok Studio, and there's not much I can do about it.
Yeah, when you first came on, we were hearing all your words, but it was like one picture of you, then another picture of you.
That's weird. I could try to do. I think I could try to do a restart. Yeah, let me do a restart real quick and then come right back, everybody. Okay? We'll see if that helps.
Roger that.
Okay.
Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in. I'm setting a new gift goal. I want the little shamrocks. All right. You guys, come on up. Is it better now? All right.
That's more like it. Now I can see you more clearly.
All right. That's good. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, you guys, we are in Exodus. Can you guys, it's hard for me to share out from TikTok Studio. And if we're still glitching, don't forget I'm live on YouTube and I'm live on Twitch right now. So you can always jump over to one of the other ones. You just can't join the panel from there. The panel, you should be able to hear me fine. It's sometimes in the chat. Don't worry that we won't get a lot of people in chat. I don't normally for Sunday school. It's usually just us. But keep sharing it out. Keep liking the live. I do have a gift goal of 333 of the little shamrocks. So if you have the coin, thanks for sending those. I appreciate it. Also, I am looking for more subbies, and we're going to do some subscription-only fun things coming up. So if you're not a subscriber, now's a good time to become a subscriber. It's less than a cup of coffee a month. You are subscribed to Netflix, Cornhub. Yeah, I know about that. And Hulu, and you're never even on those because you're here every day, 24/7. So just, why don't you cancel those? Save yourself some money and then come subscribe to me and get more bang for your buck. All right, you guys, we are in Exodus chapter 16. If you can share this out to biblical scholarship, to Justin Deconstruction Zone, because if he's at work a lot of times he'll listen in and sit and chat and talk to us. Share this out to Rabbi Hannah, Rabbi Bert, and Nick. That would be great because it's hard for me to share from TikTok Studio. I'm going to go ahead and start reading chapter 16, Bread from Heaven. The whole congregation of the Israelites set out from Elim, and Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they had departed from the land of Egypt. The whole congregation of the Israelites complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots and ate our fill of bread, for you have brought us out into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." So they're starving. They are really, really hungry. How disrespectful of them.
They're like,
They're hangry.
They are.
yeah,
hangry.
they're hangry.
They're
like, I would have rather have died than what we're doing now.
Exactly. Hey, Joel. If you're free, come on up, Joel. Come on up, Mateo Potato. Come on up, Baker Man. How are you? Sis, come on up if you want. This is Bible study day. So they're very hungry, and I don't blame them. I would be hungry too. I'm hungry by 11 o'clock every day, so I'm hungry like clockwork. Then the Lord said to Moses, I'm going to rain bread from heaven for you, and each day the people shall go out and gather enough for that day. In that way I will test them, whether they will follow my instruction or not. On the sixth day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather on other days. So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, in the evening you shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your complaining against the Lord. For what are we that you complain against us? And Moses said, when the Lord gives you meat to eat in the evening and your fill of bread in the morning, because the Lord has heard the complaining that you utter against him, what are we? Your complaining is not against us, but against the Lord. So, okay, so there's a lot here.
Starve, you ungrateful rats.
Yeah.
And again with the test.
Yeah.
What is up with the test? God's supposed to be all-knowing. I'll only get enough for a day. This is a test to see if you follow my instructions or not.
Yeah. He tests a lot, and I get this from Christians a lot, where they're like, well, you know, like when you test your children. No, I really don't know, because I don't do that. That's weird.
Yeah, I've never done that for my kids either.
What? Why would I test my kids?
I mean, whenever I was thirsty, because I was always thirsty, my mom would tell me to swallow my spit. But, like, I can't imagine being, like, starving and her being like, you know, eat a tooth. You know
yeah,
what? I mean?
what?
Like, yeah.
It's just crazy that they're like, we're starving. And they're like, well, here is how you ration what little tiny bit we've been given. It's like, oh my.
At this point, they could eat bacon, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Technically, yes, because the laws have not come down yet.
Here's the other thing I want to know, like, so they keep saying us. Is Moses talking about him and Aaron, or is God talking about him and the divine council? What's going on with the us here? Do we know? Let's look that up, shall we?
I think would be Moses and Aaron. Because it says your complaining is not against us, but against the Lord.
Yeah. I think it's the leadership of Israel. Or, well, they're not. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, and trust me, as someone in leadership at work, we get a lot of complaints.
Yeah, it is. It's Moses and Aaron.
Everyone hates leadership until they find themselves in the role. They're like, shit.
Especially when the big boss sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I was talking to my husband about leadership. He was talking about his boss, and he said that he always seems almost like irritated when I come to talk to him about something. I said, you know, as a manager, I was irritated every single time one of my employees came to ask me something too. And I said, I think it's just your default position when you're a manager, because a lot of times, probably a good 99% of the time, when somebody comes to ask you something, you've already told them that whatever they're coming to ask you, and it's just going to be a redundancy thing. But unfortunately, of course, there are the times where it's not that, and unfortunately you're going to see me still be exasperated with you, because I get so many times where people ask me the same thing over and over again. I think it's a default
But
position.
none of them were like, hey, we're starving. We need some food, or anything like that, right?
No.
Well, mine do say, "I'm thirsty. Give me some Gatorade. Give me some water."
Okay.
And
Then,
guess what I do? I go get it. I get enough for a long time.
yeah. You got to meet the people's needs, you know. Then Moses said to Aaron, "Say to the whole congregation of the Israelites, draw near to the Lord, for he has heard your complaining." And as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the Israelites, they looked toward the wilderness, and the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, "I have heard the complaining of the Israelites. Say to them, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall have your fill of bread. Then you shall know that I am the Lord your God." Okay, so who's appearing in the cloud? Like, is that Yahweh himself? Do we know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question because it says the glory of the Lord. So what is the glory of the Lord? It would be the Lord himself.
This is just me thinking, but I would say this is God. However, later like where we see the angel of the Lord, a lot of times that is God, but the scribes didn't feel comfortable with God being that close to man, so they ended up separating God, like through a cloud or whatever. And so, I think this is originally God for sure, but
It
they're trying
is
to separate
Yahweh.
it.
Yeah. It says, according
Yeah.
to Old Testament scholars, the glory of God, Kabod, Yahweh, in this passage refers to a visible manifestation of God's presence, often described. Ooh, why did my phone do that? You know how it jumps down all of a sudden to something you weren't even looking at? Often described as a radiant or overwhelming light in the broader context of the Hebrew Bible. The kabod is associated with divine appearance, such as the pillar of cloud and fire in Exodus 13:21 and 22, and the theophany on Mount Sinai, Exodus 24:16 through 17. Scholars
I was gonna ask Crystal, who else prayed for the Shekinah glory? Because that's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I always wanted
I
to
was
see
just
it.
about to bring that up. Yeah, that's what that is. So if you've ever been to like a Pentecostal church, they always pray for the Shekinah glory to come down.
Oh, really? Okay, I have not
Have you
heard
have
of
you
it.
dealt with that, DC?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, there was so much smoke." And the funny thing is, you'll get like people in a hot place, and like there's steam coming from their bodies, like, you know what I'm talking about? And the AC's not working that well or whatever, and they'll call that the Shekinah glory.
Yeah, they're all dancing around, sweating and crying, and
Yeah.
it's
That creates the Shekinah glory.
yeah.
Okay, I've never heard of the
What
Shekinah
about
glory.
the what glory?
Can you explain it to us?
It's like, God is always here, right? Like, in their view,
Uh-huh.
like God is omnipresent, but he's not always manifesting. And so the manifestation of God himself is like a cloud in their view. Like, and they get it from this. And so
And where do they get the
when
name
God is
Shekinah
like,
glory?
See, it's
That
been
I
so
don't
long.
know. We'd have to look
But
that up.
it's the same thing as the kebab. Is it the kebab? I feel like that's something I would order at a gas station.
Like,
I do
gas
love a good
station.
kebab.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, it's not that compelling, the whole glory manifest as smoke thing. Like, I kind of think that it would be more compelling if it was like, especially from a God who could do whatever he wanted, just kind of was like a floating head, you know, that was like, "Hi, I'm God. This is what I want it to be." But instead, you have to just look up and assume that's what it is.
Exactly. Something that is distinguishable, that is no second guessing what it is. If it's really him, like, show yourself.
Okay, so the term Shekinah glory is derived from the Hebrew the Hebrew root shekan, meaning to dwell or to settle. However, the word Shekinah itself does not appear in the Hebrew Bible. It was later developed in Jewish writing, particularly in rabbinic. Why does it do that? Jump me around when I'm reading. Particularly in rabbinic and mystical traditions, to describe the manifest presence of God dwelling among his people. But still, Shekinah glory is Christian. Some Christian theologians adopt the term to describe the visible manifestation of God's presence. Okay, so let me start with, I grew up as a Methodist, and if I haven't told you this yet, like, if you could find the most lukewarm, milky white church in the world, it's gonna be the Methodists, okay? They are so lukewarm. There's no speaking in tongues, there's no Shekinah glory, there's no. We're like so.
We need to get into the denominational history, because Crystal, the Pentecostals were Methodists.
What? That is wild to me, because
Yes,
there's none
Assemblies
of
of God are
that.
Methodists.
Yeah.
Because
The Wesleyan
Methodists
denomination.
Like, if Pentecostal is a double stuffed Oreo cookie, Methodist is a graham cracker with nothing on it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
I went to
Go ahead, JD.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say I went to a Wesleyan church for a while, and they broke away from the Methodists because they didn't believe in slavery.
Because Methodists don't believe in slavery?
The Wesleyans did not. No, the Wesleyans didn't. So that's why they broke away.
Huh. When did Methodists
But yeah, I
stop
think a
believing
history of
in
denominations
slavery?
would be a great topic.
Yeah, that would
Right.
be really good. Because the Methodists are now open hearts, open minds, open doors. Like, they welcome everybody in, and they're supposed to be the, I don't know what they are anymore. But then I became a Quaker. Again, Quakers don't do that stuff, okay?
What?
No.
You were a Quaker?
Yes, I was. I was a
Wow.
Quaker. Quakers
I need to hear
believe
more about that sometime.
that if you speak in tongues, there must be somebody there who can translate. And if anybody speaks in tongues and there is not somebody else there that can translate, then you're lying. And that's just full stop, you're lying and you're a false prophet. So, yeah. So,
That's funny. I mean,
Yeah, that's when you know your husband, like, say something.
that's what I was gonna say. Then I think it is necessary, but I would have got caught as a fraud, because I remember they had days where at the church that I went to where it was prayer, and there would just be people strewn out all over chairs, floors, just everywhere, under chairs, and they'd just be speaking in tongues. And I remember laying there, and I would like pray for a little bit, and then I'd look around and be like, shoot, everyone's speaking in tongues. I think I should too.
yeah.
And then just start doing it.
I bought a Honda, but I should have bought a Nissan. Hallelujah.
Exactly.
But so
hear.
what I noticed in the Assembly of God, so you had like praying in tongues, but then if you had someone like in the church service where it got quiet and someone spoke in tongues, there's always going to be somebody that thinks they have the translation. Always.
Anyways, we got lost on the Shekinah glory. I'm so sorry, Chris.
No,
I'm
hey,
sorry.
no, you guys don't have to apologize. This is what this Bible study's for. We're supposed to learn some stuff, and I had never heard of that before. I'm learning, and I love it. It's important to me. It helps me understand things like why. Okay, when you're out there on the mean TikTok streets, and you're out there with Christians, and they talk about how they've had personal things. Look how many of them will say that they saw an angel, and it never looks like the angel of the Bible.
In the Bible. Because those are scary.
Right. It's beautiful. It's always like a person with wings or something. What are you talking about? Nobody saw angels that look like that in the Bible. But anyway, trying to understand things like this helps me understand better when I'm out there talking to Christians. Like, if they would have talked about the Shekinah glory, I would have no idea what they were talking about. So I love learning this stuff. Good morning, Selena. How are you?
Good morning, sweetheart. How are you? I'm good.
All right, we are on verse 13 in chapter 16 of Exodus. Hey, Burns. How are you? That Burns is over on YouTube. You guys, we're on YouTube and Twitch this morning. So keep tapping the screen, sharing out the live, because it does help. And I have some great Decon Q&A with CrystalJae coming up. I have Zena May on Friday. I have Christina Carroll on Sunday. I have Joel and Mezzo on Monday. And then the following week, I have Sam and somebody else. You guys, I'm getting booked up with those. So the more you help push out this live, the more it helps with future lives. And you guys get to come up and ask the questions on Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. So it's a good time.
Yay! And more deconstruction content on YouTube is always great.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, yeah, so we're on YouTube and Twitch now. Okay. In the evening, quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning, there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a fine, flaky substance, as fine as frost on the ground. When the Israelites saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. I'm sorry. That just seems like such a stupid thing. What is it? For they did not know. Yeah, I assume that's why they said, "What is it?" Because they didn't know what it was. The Bible could be
Yeah,
saying,
here's your food. Eat off the ground. Thank you.
Right? Scrape this shit up. It was probably actually bird shit from all the quail, but you know, what is it?
No!
It is the bread that the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Gather as much of it as each of you needs. An omer to a person according to the number of persons, all providing for those in their own tents. The Israelites did so, some gathering more and some less. But when they measured it with an omer, those who gathered much had nothing over, and those who gathered little had no shortage. They gathered as much as each of them needed. And Moses said to them, "Let no one leave any of it until morning." But they did not listen to Moses. Some left part of it until morning, and it bred worms and became foul. And Moses was angry with them. Morning by morning they gathered it as much as each needed, but when the sun grew hot, it melted. Okay.
You're right. It might be quail shit.
Yeah, right? I'm just saying. Like, that's just my guess.
I can't get that
nasty,
image out
grew
of my head.
worms.
You can't hear me as much now?
I was just gonna say I can't get that image out of my head now.
Okay, sis, are you the only one who can't hear me? Is everybody else able to hear me?
I don't know, but like I will turn my phone up so loud to hear you, and then like I'll hear our deconstruction talk, and it's like super loud. I don't know if it's my phone. I don't know.
No, I have to turn my phone up really loud to hear you, Crystal, and everybody else is a lot louder than you are.
I just turned it up some more. Is it better?
No
Yeah.
change to me.
You sound good on my end, but I have earphones in, so
I could try to find my earphones, but I really cannot hear. I've been quiet because I've been trying to make it work, but I can't.
I don't know what it is. I know. Okay, so the last time let me check one more thing. It might be this. One time it was trying to connect my Bluetooth to another device. So let me make sure. No, my Bluetooth is off on this. My Bluetooth is off on my phone. I don't know why. I'm sorry, you guys. I'll work on the sound better for next show, but it's hard to do it when you're already in the show, because it's hard to check all the settings.
I understand. Thanks, Crystal.
You sound great to me.
Okay. How come there's not something under audio that just says microphone? Like, what? Desktop audio, desktop 2. I don't know what any of that means. Why can't they make things simple for people? Okay. Anyway, where are we at now? Where did we leave off?
We're gonna have to get you a
22.
microphone, Crystal.
I have a mic. I'm on a mic. That's the
Oh my
point.
god, you've got one of the big ones.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you're using one of the small ones, because I can hear deconstruction so clear. Like, it's so loud. And then I'm like,
But
Yeah,
what's
I'm
going
using a
on?
mic.
yeah, it has to do with my settings and trying to make sure that my settings also work through TikTok Studio. And it could very well just be a TikTok Studio issue because they updated TikTok Studio last night. So it could be just a new thing that I have to fix there.
Yeah, Crystal's dealing with more shit than I am. I'm on tier 1. She's on like tier 5.
So I do have a mic. Hello. And it's showing me that I'm getting very good, sound from it. Like, according to, the little bar there that shows you how it's doing. The same on TikTok Studio. So I don't know where the
Does it
disconnect
get
is.
high? Does it get louder whenever the mic gets closer to your face?
Yes. But
It
it's
does?
already on. Now I'm getting this little disconnect sound in my ear. Okay. Let's move on. I've done all I can do.
Let's do that.
What is toggling?
I'm still
on
hearing
and
the
off?
sound.
Me too. What the
It's
frack is that?
It's like a fire alarm in the in the computer. Everybody has a fire alarm in the live.
What on earth is that? Okay, I don't know. It stopped, so we're gonna move on now. All right. So the quills have covered the land. They have to, and then to get the bread, it's some kind of flaky shit that. I'm sorry. I just think it sounds gross. I'm not touching anything right now. What the hell? I'm not even touching
Guys,
it.
when you
rebuke you.
start playing, then it will be fixed.
We need to sacrifice a goat. Who has a goat?
their
Yeah.
firstborn to sacrifice.
All my days.
Checking all my just make sure one's not wiggling and doing that.
Whoa! Something made your audio better.
It did?
Something you did made your audio. Yes. I don't know what yet. Whatever you did.
Okay, but something's still toggling. Oh, I wonder if my Bible was sitting on the keyboard.
But
Oh
now
my
I don't see you
God.
moving.
Okay, hang
Yeah.
on.
Now you're froze.
I'll fix the frozenness. Okay, hang on. Where did OBS go? Okay.
Everybody, Crystal's frozen. Just breathe on your phone a little bit, and you'll thaw her out. She'll be back just in a second.
Actually, if you tap the screen, it'll warm it up.
Oh yeah.
So everybody double tap.
That'd probably be better.
I'm going to disappear a second and then I should come right back. And there I am. Okay, oh
There
my
she
goodness.
is.
So my sound is better, my video is better. I don't know what I did. God, I'm going to have to make an entire checklist like a pilot has before they, fly. Before I go live, I have to do 4 million things. I thought once you set this up, it was like set it and forget it, but no, it's not. It's not like that at all. All right, so they're scraping shit up off the ground and eating it because that's how God provides. I remember as a kid, I used to want to know what manna bread tasted like. I always pictured that it tasted wonderful.
I would always think that it tasted like that communion bread, you know, that they'd pass around, like those thin little wafer bread.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, oh, manna.
Okay, let's see. Verse 22. Oh, I'm sorry. Any other questions or anything that you guys want me to look up there? Anything that else that we need to talk about there? All right. On the sixth day, they gathered twice as much food, 2 omers apiece. When all the leaders of the congregation came and told Moses, he said to them, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake that you want to bake and boil what you want to boil, and all that is left over put aside to be kept until morning." So they put it aside until morning, as Moses commanded them, and it did not become foul, and there were no worms in it. Moses said, "Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is a Sabbath, there will be none." So after they gathered this bread, they also had to bake this bread? That seems weird to me.
Yeah, that's what stuck out to me. So, was it some type of flour? And why are we boiling this bread?
Yeah. Let's look this up. Meanwhile, DC, can you tell everybody to tap and stuff while I look this up?
While she's looking that up, why don't you go ahead and tap that screen, share it out to at least 5 friends or more. We are almost at 100 shares. We got 96 right now. Let's try to get those likes up to 10,000 as quickly as we can. And if you have some extra coins, she does have a gift goal of 333 shamrocks. And if you would like to subscribe, she is halfway to the point where people can give. So let's get those likes up, get the shares up, get goals, and subscribe.
Grana Zana says they were nomads. They didn't have ovens, but okay. So I looked it up, and they did prepare it after they gathered it. Doesn't really give a reason. They prepared it for the Sabbath. Obviously, we knew why they were doing it. I just wanted to know, like, why. I was always taught that, like, manna bread fell from heaven. I don't know about any of you. So I was always picturing it to be more of a bread or a little wafer or something. To me, to find out it was something that they had to prepare into bread, I don't know. Like, I didn't think of it like that.
I always thought it was ready to eat. You know?
Yeah, I thought it was like really, really good, like Michelin starred, like class food. I thought it was like super delicious.
Yeah, me too. Like,
that's what we're made to believe, really. But I mean, we don't know. We just assume that because God's supposed to be good, that it's the best bread we've ever had.
Exodus 6.
I didn't even know it was bread, because when I read manna.
Oh, come on up. Come on up, Rabbi. Where is everything? Okay, there. Oops. Now I can't see my guests. Come on up. Can any of my KJ's coming up? Rabbi, we're talking about manna. That's the food we're talking about. If you can come up, come up. If not, we'll talk to you from chat. But we are talking about manna.
Do you have any mods in here, Crystal?
Yeah, I think so. I think DC's a mod if he's still around. Did his phone die? His phone dies a lot. Tahir, are you a mod yet? If not, I'll make you one right now.
Yeah, his phone might have died since he left so quick. You can make me a mod if you want.
All right, I will do
We have
that.
to control things.
All right. And get you as a mod. I give you guys the ability to do everything, but I ask you to not bring guests up unless I ask you to whenever I'm live. There will be times I'll ask you to because I can't see the chat box. Manna is magical equity bread.
Okay, no problem.
That's the rabbi said. Manna is magical equity bread. Well, we were just shocked that you had to prepare it in any way, Rabbi, because I always pictured it like you could just eat it, like just how it was. But apparently they baked it and they boiled it. And it says in Numbers 11:8 that they could also grind it and make cakes. So, yeah. Okay, I just wasn't aware.
Yummy.
No matter how much anyone takes, they come home with
Looks
exactly
like,
what they needed.
Can you see your guest box?
No, I can't. Is he in there?
Got the ear in there.
You
Oh wait,
can-
no, they dropped down.
Let Tahir up. I modded you, Tahir. There we go. I can let her up this time. Okay. All right. Well, that is something I didn't know about manna. I don't know. For some reason, I just pictured it ready to go. You know. Okay. On the 6th day, they gathered twice. Did I read this part on the 6th day part?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. On the 7th day, some of the people went out to gather, and they found none. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and instructions? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the 6th day, he gives you food for 2 days. Each of you stay where you are. Do not leave your place on the 7th day." So the people rested on the 7th day. Resting on the 7th day is very important to God. I know that it's because he rested, which I still don't understand.
Yeah,
Hey,
he gets
Liz.
too tired.
Yeah, like it's weird that an all-powerful God gets tired.
Wait, so
Hey, Volsi. What?
so does that mean that you can't eat on the 7th day? Is that? Oh no, they're saying collect it and ration it.
Right, you collect it.
Yeah, you
took
prepared
twice
what you
as
needed
much.
on the Sabbath.
Yeah, on the
On
day
Friday.
before, and then on the Sabbath you already have food prepared for when you do get hungry. But these people decided to go out and see if there was some more manna out there, and he didn't like that. They was getting greedy. Good morning, Nick. We're talking about manna and how magical it is, Nick.
Oh,
I wouldn't say they were greedy. I would say they're just hungry.
yeah. So I mean, the way I explain mana to people, especially the nerds, is think Elven Lumbus bread from Lord of the Rings, and that's your that's your mana. They were probably craving some, actual food.
Well, I'm saying the reason I'm
Yeah,
saying they're
because if you
greedy
think of it,
was because they gathered twice as much the day before, so they should have had enough to eat on Sunday. And then they still went to gather on not Sunday, on the Sabbath, not Sunday. There's that Christianese coming through. On Saturday. So on Friday they had gathered twice as much, and then on Saturday they still went out to gather even though they had enough, and that's what he's upset with.
Yeah. So essentially, like I was saying, lumbus bread. I mean, for those of you who aren't nerds like me, basically it's this tiny piece of bread, but you can get full off of like a bite. So, manna I regard in the same way, but man can't live by bread alone. They were probably starving for something that actually had some substance to it.
that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like, if you think about it without spiritual eyes and logically, there's no way you could just survive off of bread alone. Like for a couple days, eat nothing but rolls,
they have
and then
quail
you'll
too,
be
right?
starving and you'll complain.
But they have quail too at this point, right?
Okay. I wasn't sure if they still did.
At this point, it says that, okay, if we just go back a little bit, in the evening, quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a fine, flaky substance. So that's the manna. And then the Lord says, how long will you refuse to keep my commandments and instructions? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the 6th day, he gives you food for 2 days. Each of you stay where you are. Do not leave your place on the 7th. So they rested on the 7th day. So they do have manna and they do have quail.
Were they eating the quail though, or just the manna?
I don't know.
I thought the quail was what became the manna.
I
I
don't
thought
know.
maybe we'll read it somewhere else, but I thought he sent quail for them to eat when they were complaining that they only had manna. I could be
I don't
remembering
think
wrong.
we've gotten to that yet, where he sends them so much that he unalives them. Hang on, let's check out the quail first. Okay, so
Well, that's kind of
What? He what? He unalives them? Bruh.
yeah, he will. Yeah, he will.
He sends the seraphim to make them.
that's what I was remembering that being they were complaining about only having manna to eat, and that's why he was like, "Oh, I'm giving you this amazing bread, and you're complaining." That's what I thought.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think that may be later on.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's later on.
you guys, I'm sorry if you're having a lot of lag on TikTok. TikTok Studio just updated last night. I think we're having issues with it. I am live on YouTube and Twitch. Those links are in my bio if you want to head over there and not have so much lagging. Sorry about that. Okay, so while the verse itself does not explicitly say they ate the quail, the broader context makes it clear that the quail was provided as food in Exodus 16:12. At twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall have your fill of bread. So they are eating the quail. Okay. So verse 31. The house of Israel called it manna. It was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Let an omer of it be kept throughout your generations in order that they may see the food with which I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt." And Moses said to Aaron, "Take a jar and put an omer of manna in it and place it before the Lord to be kept throughout your generations, as the Lord commanded Moses." So Aaron placed it before the covenant for safekeeping. The Israelites ate manna 40 years until they came to a habitable land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. An omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Where's that jar at? I want to see it.
That's what I've always wanted every time I read that. Where is that jar? And I'm glad they cleared up where the Omar is.
Yeah, because I know what an ephah is, okay? Like, well, how is that going to help me? What are you doing?
Thanks, Moses.
Well, that's all cleared up for us now. Anyway, I'd like to see that jar, and I'm glad they explained how, because to me, coriander seed, I don't know what they're saying. Did it look like the color of a coriander seed? Because honey and wafers do not taste like coriander. So it can't be the taste they're talking about. What are they talking about?
With the Bible I have, I'm looking at the New Oxford Annotated Bible.
Mm-hmm.
It says that, like, in the annotated, like, space below, it says that manna isn't clearly defined, and it might be a mythic substance. I'm not even sure what that means.
Honestly, if the pheasants were roaming around the night before and there was dew the next morning and the dew lifted, they were probably eating pheasant spit. I'm not going to.
Ew.
If
Wait,
you
wait,
really think about it.
What did you say they might be eating?
pheasant shit.
That's what I
So
said.
if you had the
I fucking said that before
Yeah,
you
so-
got here.
did you?
I said, I think they're eating the quail shit. What the hell? They are scraping up quail shit.
Literally.
They are scraping up quail shit.
Either quail shit or that, or maybe the remnants of any eggs that were lean and trampled. That, one of the two, but it's probably more than likely they were eating quail shit.
That is crazy. Okay, water.
I was just gonna say.
Oh, go ahead.
It's funny how. I was gonna say it's funny how just like with anything else, it's confusing and makes no sense and is not clearly defined at all.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's magical.
Pretty much, it's the Bible.
Here's another one for you. Water from the rock, okay? From the wilderness of sin, the whole congregation of the Israelites journeyed by stages as the Lord commanded. Why is it calling it the wilderness of sin? I never heard that before. Okay, they camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. The people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people thirsted there for water, and the people complained against Moses and said, "Why did you bring us out of Egypt to kill us and our children and livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried out to the Lord, "What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord said to Moses, "Go on ahead of the people and take some of the elders of Israel with you. Take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile and go. I will be standing there in front of you on the rock of Horeb. Strike the rock and water will come out of it so that the people may drink." Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. He called the place Massah. Let's see, I have a notation. That is test. And Meribah, because the Israelites quarreled and tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Okay, first of all, this is not a fucking test. These people were dehydrated. What is wrong with this God and these people? What on earth?
But Crystal,
Yes.
but Crystal, Jesus passed the test. Why couldn't they?
What really gets under my skin is him using the word complain. These are legit issues. These people are starving and thirsting. They're in the wilderness with no water. And they call it a complaint.
Yeah.
I always wondered, like, if that's how he viewed things, then why did he make them that way? Like, aren't we 90% water or something similar?
Yeah.
It always just, it never really sat with me.
No, it really bothers me that, because when you hear
It is
these stories as a Christian, you picture people who are just whining, right? I mean, that's the way they make you think of it. Like, there's no reason for these people to
Yeah,
complain.
petulant.
I'm going to try to do something to see if it fixes the problem of my little
Or
dinghy
like we grew
noise.
up listening to specific stories where,
Okay, let's see if it doesn't stop that stupid noise.
we grew up
Yeah.
listening
While
to
you're
specific stories where actually had whiny voices. And like I remember I listened to Henry's Bible stories. If anyone knows what when they read, people they're like, we're so thirsty. And it's like now that I'm an adult and I've like graduated college and I have like a fully developed frontal lobe, I'm like, oh my god, this is not a complaint. This is like, hey, I'm nearing death. I'm crying
Right?
for help.
That's the same. I really thought these were just whiny people who were like, I pictured, you know how like I don't know, you go to an amusement park or whatever, and some of you are whiny and cranky because you're hungry, and some of you want to go on rides, and you're like, shut up, quit whining, let's go on the rides. I pictured that, right? Not that these people were literally dehydrated and, and unalive. Hey, CR over on YouTube, how you doing? You guys, I don't know what the notification noise is. I'm sorry. Just
They're like dehydrated and starving, and God's like, oh, these petulant children, like, ugh, I guess I can give them water. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
that's the way
feel
I used to view it, like you, Crystal. Like, oh, these are just whiny, complaining people.
Yeah.
But like Nick's last few lives, no, we just lacked empathy then. We didn't
Yeah.
think of them as like real
Exactly.
people, really
Exactly.
thirsty, really hungry.
right. Well, because we're
No,
not
when you're a
taught that.
Christian, you're very good.
You know,
Yeah, no, we're not.
you got your preacher up there telling you, you know, this is how you act. You know that you don't trust God enough. You start to have one little problem with your checkbook and you start whining when God has provided you so much already. Look at the house he put over your head, you know, the roof he put over your head. Look at, and meanwhile, you're the one busting your ass 40, 60 hours a week to pay for the mortgage to put that roof over your head. But you're going to give that glory to God. And the fact that your boss isn't paying you enough, that were you just scraping by, somehow that's you complaining. Not being literally exhausted, literally not able to function because you're working so hard and you're not barely getting by. Now, that's the way they preach to you. They make you feel bad for having needs, genuine needs.
Ooh, yes, yes. That was so well put. I feel like when I'm deconstructing this, like one thing that's really apparent to me is we were constantly taught how to push aside our own needs.
Yes.
And I'm just now realizing that. And I'm also realizing the way that I grew up. I was like, oh, my parents they're so bad, whatever. But actually, I guess it was biblical because the way that God is described in Exodus, I feel like that's the parenting I had. And
Yeah.
I think it almost like encourages people to be shit parents. And I mean, all the testing going on, all of the constant putting your own needs aside, not wants. Water is a need.
Yes.
Completely aside.
Food
It's
is a
ludicrous.
need. Water is a need.
It teaches you to accept,
Abuse.
well, and the bare minimum. Yeah, it's like accept the bare minimum, be happy with that. Otherwise, you're being petulant.
It's like a shut up religion, I think. Like,
It's a thought stopping religion. If you think for a minute, they're gonna give you something to stop your thought process. You know, they're gonna tell you, well, his ways are higher. You just don't understand. Stop thinking about it. You know, you can't conceive what he has for you. Stop thinking about it. Stop. All right. Amalek attacks Israel and is defeated. The Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. Moses said to Joshua, choose some men for us to go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill and the staff of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses told him and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hand grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side, so his hands were steady until the sun set. And Joshua defeated Amalek and his people with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, write this as a reminder in a book and recite it in the hearing of Joshua. I will utterly blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called it, the Lord is my banner. He said, a hand upon the banner of the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation.
so just to okay, so the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation. So when I'm reading this, it kind of comes across like he wants there to be conflict and he wants an ongoing struggle. Is anyone else interpreting it that way?
I think that it's the only way you can interpret it when you realize that, one, these people weren't doing anything in the first place. They just defended themselves, and then for 400 years they're never going to do anything to these people, and God is going to come back and have them utterly wiped out. G-side 100%. I think he just wanted an enemy.
Because so the people of Amalek, are these the people who were eating the manna and were complaining?
No, those are the Israelites.
Okay, I guess I'm a little confused. Why is he upset with the people of Amalek? I'm not understanding that.
He's upset with
This
the
is
people.
when he starts taking all the land.
Yeah, the Israelites are conquering people around them to take their land because God has promised them the land. So they want
Yeah, just picture.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just picture Trump and all he wants.
Oh, that made it quick and easy.
Jesse Tyler, there's nowhere in this that says that they were offering child sacrifices, but what good is it for you to say God didn't like that they were doing child sacrifices, so God ordered them to go unalive all their babies? Are we saving the babies or are we not saving the babies? So that's just a lie. And it's the Amalekites, by the way, not the Amalekites. Or the Bagalites.
The Amalekites were wiped out over a 400-year-old grudge. It very much specifies in the Bible why God did it. So I don't know where you guys get your excuses or apologetics from, but the Bible is very clear that the reason why they ended up attacking the Amalekites and wiping everybody out was over a 400-year-old grudge. So, read your Bible.
We're not there yet, but right now, at this point, nowhere did it say that they were sacrificing their children. We read up to here. It talked about manna, and then it went right into the to Amalek. So nowhere in that, you guys were here, you were my witnesses, did it say the reason God is doing this is because Amalek and his people are sacrificing children. It does not say it. Okay. Chapter 18. Wait, did I finish that one? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're on 18.
Okay. So, chapter 18, before we do, you guys, if you can help me get my gift goal up, I'm doing the little shamrocks, 333 of those. They are only 5 coin each. If you can't send those, please send any gift. If you want to support my lives and the new Decon Q&A with CrystalJae, there's several ways you can support it. The links are in my bio, but please subscribe to my YouTube. I need to get to 500 subscribers over there. I already have people who want to send super chats, but we can't do it until I get to 500 subscribers. So if you can help me get there, I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to send gifts to my esteemed panelists, please. And thank you so much. Thank you, sis. I really appreciate it. Okay. Jethro's advice. Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and his people Israel, how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. After Moses had sent away his wife Zipporah, his father-in-law Jethro took her back, along with her 2 sons. The name of one was Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien in a foreign land. And the name of the other Eleazar, for he said, the God of my father was my help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came into the wilderness where Moses was encamped at the mountain of God, bringing Moses' son and wife to him. He sent word to Moses, I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons. Moses went out to meet his father-in-law. He bowed down and kissed him. Each asked after the other's welfare, and they went into the tent. Then Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardships that had beset them on the way, and how the Lord had delivered them. Jethro rejoiced for all the good that the Lord had done to Israel in delivering them from the Egyptians. Okay, any commentary, questions, things we should look up?
I hate to like harp on something that you guys already answered for me, but I've been like on Google trying to understand what you guys explained to me about why are the Amalekites in conflict, and it's saying something about killing the anointed king. I don't know how I missed that, but I'm very much still so confused about chapter 17. I know we went through it already, but I'm still not clicking.
Okay, wait.
So
What?
when they originally,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry.
Nick. No, go ahead.
When they originally came out of Egypt, they were attacked by the Amalekites. Basically, the Amalekites saw a entire nation coming into their nation and wanted to end that before it became an issue, right? Because of this, God held a grudge. So later on,
Against the Amalekites for attacking the Israelites.
yes, when they were coming out of slavery from Egypt. That's when the grudge match starts.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, absolutely.
Did that?
And because God can't let anything go, ever.
But he keeps no record.
No, yeah, he keeps it. Don't let them fool you.
He says he keeps
All
the
the
record.
records. Mm-hmm.
You know what's so funny? Like, there's part of me who's like, okay, I'm gonna ask questions to understand, and then the part of me is like, damn, I've been asking questions and I still don't understand. Not because I don't understand what you're saying, but because it's like, all of that for that, like,
Yeah.
like I don't know if I'm gaslighting myself, but I'm like, doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do that for that. It seems too small and inconsequential, and for generations, like for people who weren't even there.
Yeah.
You can ask all the
Israelites
questions.
were special, right?
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you.
It's really important to ask the questions, because that's exactly why we're doing the Bible study. Like, what happened was, I started thinking, how did people like Thinker and Justin and people like that get to where they are? Well, they started by studying this Bible, and I thought maybe there's other people who want to do that with me, and that's why we do this, to ask the questions and
Okay.
try to answer them.
I like the reassurance, because I'm like, in my head, like, I know this sounds dumb, but I
No.
really don't get it. And then it's like reading it with the Christian eyes. It's all
Yes.
rosy-colored glasses versus like, I'm trying to be analytical. And now that I'm analytical, it's not clicking. So, but that's the whole point.
Right, and so
So
just
I
ask them again, or ask it a different way. Like, let's just keep asking those questions until we go, like, I get it now, or at least I feel pretty reassured with what's going on here, because there is a difference. We're going to find out what the Jewish people meant when they wrote this, okay? And we're going to find out what it really means, because it's all bullshit, right? And we're going to remember what we were taught, because we were indoctrinated. And so there's three things happening at the same time there with the same story.
Yeah.
John, do not request up. I don't take people I don't know up on the panel on Bible study day. It's only my friends, and or if one of them refer you to me as some kind of Bible scholar or Hebrew scholar or something. Otherwise, I only bring up my friends. Okay. So why is Jethro bringing back the kids and the wife now? Like, I don't get this whole scene. Anybody have any feelings about it?
I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I was listening to you and I was like, wait, huh? That was my reaction. And then you asked if anyone had any questions. I was like, well, I'm not going to expose myself for not getting it.
No,
Yeah,
just
to me it seems just
literally how I
really
feel.
weird and out of place.
okay.
Like most Bible verses, weird and out of place.
Exactly. Unless he was just doing something nice. Hey, you want to go see your dad?
Yeah.
Who?
Was it because they weren't Hebrews? Let's find out. The Bible doesn't say explicitly, but some scholars suggest for their safety. Moses may have sent them away before facing Pharaoh to protect them from the dangers of the plagues and the Exodus. A temporary separation. Zipporah's last mention before this was in Exodus 4:24 through 26. That's a pretty powerful story that I think gets glossed over a lot, where Zipporah circumcises her son because God is going to unalive Moses. And I talked about it with Rabbi Bert. I said, I don't think people we just don't picture these small stories human enough. Imagine for one moment that you're a woman who is married and you have a child. And somebody is trying to murder your husband, okay? And that somebody is God of everything. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Apparently, you're going to go cut the foreskin off your child with a flint stone. Not yabba dabba doo kind, okay, but the actual stone. And you're gonna cut that off, and then you're gonna go throw that foreskin at your husband's dick because he's being a dick, because he's not doing what God wants. He's not doing the sacrifice God wants, and you have to step up and do it. Otherwise, this God is gonna kill your man. I mean, the kind of pressure she was under in that moment, thinking, I don't even know if this is gonna work. But I have to do this horrible thing to my child, make my child suffer, and do this because my husband's too stupid to do it or is just disobedient. But I've got to take control of things here. And I've got to save my husband's life from God of all things. Like, this is not just, some war guy going after him. This is God himself going after him. And he's somehow able to hide from him. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me. But
it's so interesting actually when you talk about it though, because it's like women are talked down on and looked as inferior, but then you're like, but then she's here saving the day.
That's right. She's stepping up. And I don't know how many of you are in a relationship or are married or whatever, but you know what it's like when you feel that your mate is not doing what they need to do on some kind of circumstance, and you have to step up and do it all, and you're kind of pissed about it, but it has to be done. So, and it's not like you're going to leave them because they're not doing it, but you are like, you should have done the laundry last Friday. Now I have to do it. But you know what I'm talking about, where you have to step up and you feel like they're just not doing their thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it says,
So was this I'm trying to figure out if this is a cultural thing. I'm on a blog right now.
I was just going to read that. Cultural reason. Zipporah was a Midianite, and Moses may have sent her back to her father's household due to practical or social reasons. Why did he bring him back? The journey was now safe. Moses' leadership role was established, and Jethro wanted to visit Moses. So that apparently is the reason for this ridiculous little story jammed in here. I don't know.
But you would never know that from reading it.
I would never get anything from
lacking
the story
context
either. As a Christian, there's nothing in that particular story that would have made me go, yes, now I feel closer to my God. You know what I mean? Like, it's such
Boy, that hurts.
All right, let's move on to 13. We'll finish up the chapter here. We will leave 19 for next week. So we'll just finish up here. The next day, Moses sat as a judge for the people, while the people stood around him from morning until evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit alone while all the people stand around you from morning until evening?" Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have a dispute, they come to me, and I decide between one person and another, and I make it known to them the statutes and instructions of God." Moses' father-in-law said to him, "What you are doing is not good. You will surely wear yourself out, both you and these people with you, for the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. Now listen to me. I will give you counsel, and God be with you. You should represent the people before God, and you should bring their cases before God. Teach them the statutes and instructions, and make known to them the way they are to go and the things they are to do. You should also look for able men among all the people, men who fear God, are trustworthy, and hate dishonest gain. Set such men over them as officers over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Let them sit as judges for the people at all times. Let them bring every important case to you, but decide every minor case themselves. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this, and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all these people will go to their home in peace. So Jethro is like, hey, this is too much work for one man. You need to learn to delegate your authority. That's what I got out of this.
Yeah, it's just another example of somebody knowing more and being better than God, because God could have told them how to do all this. Somebody had a better idea.
Yep.
So true. I didn't even think about it like that. And yeah, why didn't Moses think about it? Because, I mean, he is already complaining, like, why are you guys bringing your issues to me?
Yeah.
Like, he's already kind of like not wanting to be responsible.
It is wild too, because he's the one who's like, hey, you all are supposed to follow me because God told me what he wants for all of us. So come, follow me. Then when they follow him, they complain to him. He's like, why are you complaining to me? Then Jethro says to him, what are you doing? Oh, I listen to everybody complain. That's what I do. And then I tell them what I think God wants them to do. Or what God wants them to do. But it's really what he thought. Like, this is like...
This is not what I signed up for.
All right. So Moses listened to his father-in-law and did all that he had said. Moses chose able men from all Israel and appointed them as heads over the people, as officers over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. And they judged the people at all times. Hard cases they brought to Moses, but any minor case they decided themselves. Then Moses said his father-in-law, depart, and he went off to his own country. Wait, what does it say?
So he was like, okay, cool. Now I can chill out and not have to deal with these petulant children and their issues with not being able to eat and not being able to drink. Phew, crisis averted for me.
Yeah, just bring me the hard stuff.
I have a weird notation in my Bible. Maybe somebody can help me here. It says 18:11, which is, now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods because he delivered the people from the Egyptians. And then it says Egyptians has been transposed from verse 10. I don't know what that means. Yeah, Grandma Zana, I saw the 250s and tens of men or total
in the
people.
context.
I think, Grandma Zana, what they're saying is that there were judges that were over tens of people, like maybe 50 or so people. And then there were judges who were over hundreds of people, like a couple hundred. And then there were judges over thousands of people. So kind of like our court system where we have minor judges and then we have superior court judges and so forth. Maybe something similar to that.
So transpose is cause two or more things to change places with each other, usually accidentally. So what was the word in verse 10 that it was?
I don't know. All I can see is Egyptians.
So maybe it wasn't in verse 11. Maybe it wasn't in verse 11. Maybe it was omitted and they just added it in. Makes sense.
So maybe it just said because he delivered the people, and then they added from the Egyptians because it was transposed from 10.
That's what I'm thinking.
That could be it.
Ooh, Granazana, that's a good question.
They're just.
I don't know. I would think that word means humans, but maybe it does mean men. Because women weren't human. So that's why they were over men.
Yeah, women didn't have any problems, so they didn't have to deal with them.
We will look that up. What verses are that where it talks about them being over the men?
21. Well, it says he set
Okay.
men over them, but it doesn't specify. Yeah, it's probably just the people then.
The Hebrew word used for men here, anshe. Okay, I'm really bad with Hebrew, so I'm going to butcher this. Anshe hayil typically refers to strong, capable men, often in the leadership or military sense. And it was cultural norms at the time.
So no women.
No women. No. No women.
Yeah, he set men over the people, but it doesn't. Over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. It doesn't say that that's just men. That's just people. The only men mentioned are the ones that are the overseers, the officers.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any other questions or commentaries or, anything about this week's Bible study? Let's see. We went 16 through.
Just
18.
more God being God.
Yeah, God being God.
C.R. Edgar on YouTube said, it seems that Jethro already knew about Yahweh there and worshipped him, right? Yeah, it does seem like Jethro already knew. And I think he did, right?